Hello, welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I had a question. It's a great question. How much money do you need to wholesale a deal from start to finish? Now, it's a great question, and unfortunately, it's not an easy answer. Oh, sorry, I'm waiting for something. Okay, here's the problem with it. The question is, what are you really, I got to take care of that, New York State lien. Okay. What are you really counting, right? Are you counting marketing, right? So I tell a lot of people how to start wholesaling, and I tell them step one is to buy a list. Step two is to skip trace a list. They usually cost somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500. I don't know if you're including that in your cost to wholesale a deal. That's what it's going to cost to get you a list of 10,000 and get skip trace a list. So get maybe between 20 and 30,000 phone numbers, and to go either call those, text those, you can mail them. You don't even need to skip trace them if you're mailing them. So I don't know if you're counting that money. Let's say you're not counting the money. Let's say someone hands you a wholesale deal on a plate, right? It's almost never happened to me, and I've been doing this a long time, but let's say someone does. How much is it going to cost you? The only real cost you're going to have is the EMD, the earnest money deposit. Now, unfortunately in New York, that is standard deals in New York are 10% of the purchase price. So if you're wholesaling something for $300, you can put $30,000 down. So you need to negotiate that with the seller, and your attorney needs to negotiate it with the seller's attorney. So it needs to be something significant. I know people upstate New York tell me in the Hudson Valley they put up $500, $1,000. I don't think any attorney down here is going to go for that. But you could try. You could say, hey, I'll give you $1,000. I'll give you $2,000. I don't think I've ever put less than $10,000 down. So that's the only real money you have to commit. And understand that's the risk that you may lose. So all these things sort of go hand in hand, and let me explain what I'm talking about. We all believe that we're going to get this deal where a seller is going to, I don't believe it, but when you start, we believe a seller is going to say, hey, I'll take anything for this property. Right? I just want to sell. But that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that seller is going to have a number in mind, or that seller is going to tell you what his number is, and you're going to have to make an offer somewhere near that number to get the deal done, right? And you're going to risk some capital if you're putting up your own money. And the hard part is, and no one's discussed this, and I can't believe no one's discussed this, you're not going to know whether it's a deal or not at certain dollar levels. So what happens a lot is people call me, and they partner up with me. So they have a deal, and they don't know if it's a deal yet. They have a seller, and they don't know. And I will sometimes go with them on the appointment. Sometimes not. Sometimes they can just show me pictures, but I will do the research, and I'll say, listen, at this dollar number, it's a good deal. If we pay much more than that, it's not a good deal. So partnering up with somebody like me brings that. And I can't tell you how valuable that is. I can't tell you how many people have brought me deals that were not deals, or brought me deals that were deals that they didn't know were deals. So that's the first thing. Second thing you do when you partner up with someone like me is I'll put up the EMD. You don't have to put up anything. So the real answer is how much money do you need? You need zero if you partner up with somebody like me who will A, put up the EMD, the earnest money deposit, B, let you know if the deal is going to work out, and then what happens in the end is if we wholesale the deal, we're going to split it 50-50. Now, the question is, what work are you doing? So I'm doing the heavy lifting, right? I'm telling you if it's a deal, I'm putting up the money, using my attorney, I'm finding the buyer for it, and then we're going to partner up on it. What you're doing is you are making the connection with the seller. Now, I want to reiterate this because I can't express how important it is. Don't ever bring me a deal where you did not speak to the seller. Now, why do I say this? Because people unfortunately bring me deals and say, oh, I saw this great deal. It's a house next to mine that's falling apart. That's not a deal, right? Until you have a discussion with a seller who wants to sell, you don't know if you can buy the property. Don't call me ever and tell me I got this property that's listed on market and I think it's a wholesale deal. Okay, let's go in that direction a little. Let me explain why, and I've done a bunch of videos and explained 100 times why I don't think A, you should spend any time working on listed deals, and why 99.999% of the time a listed deal is not going to work on wholesale. Let me give you it in a nutshell. In a nutshell, if a house is not selling, if a house is listed for X price and is not selling at that price in today's market, I also want to reiterate, I'm recording this in the middle of March 2022. It is the hottest market ever, right? There is such a reduction in available homes for sale. We're in the hottest market ever. Ever. I can say that with all absolute 100% honesty. In Long Island right now, it is the hottest market it has ever been everywhere. Are there hotter places than others? Sure. But it's amazing. So if you bring me a house in New York City, I'm willing to say anywhere, that is not selling for the asking price, the only reason why it's not selling is because it's priced too high. Now you may say, what does that mean? How do you know it's priced too high? Maybe it's in crappy condition. Maybe it's in a crappy location. Whatever the condition, whatever the location, there's a price for it. And if it's not selling, it's because it's priced too high. So let's think here. If you're bringing me a house that's not selling for X, where a seller wants to get X, I can't pay X. I can't even pay the real price. Let's take an example. Somebody's asking $400,000 for the house. You look and you go, this is a $600,000 area. It's not worth $400,000. What's it really worth? Let's just say it's worth $300,000 as is. I can't pay $300,000 for it, right? I have to buy properties at a discount to make money. So I need to pay below $300,000. I may need to pay $200,000, right? Maybe it needs $150,000 worth of work. Maybe it is a $600,000 house, but it needs $150,000 worth. Let's do the math. What can you pay for a $600,000 house needs $150,000 worth? I can tell you right now, if you pay $400,000 for it, you're going to lose money on it because all your soft costs, all your purchase, your closing costs on the buy, your closing costs on the sale, your holding costs are going to be more than $50,000 probably. Your interest costs, your taxes. So what do you need to pay? You probably need to pay $300,000 for it, maybe less, depending on how much it really needs. So let's take that perfect example. Guy's asking $400,000 for the house. I need to pay $300,000 or less, $275,000, let's say. Is that guy going to sell it to me for $275,000? 1 in a million. Now, I have bought once in a while properties that were listed for sale, but they were crazy situations. So a house went on the market. I saw it was mispriced. I said, I want it today. Give it to me for this price, and I got it. A house went on the market, and no one could get in to see it, but I had already seen it before, so I knew what it was worth, and I knew it didn't need that much work, and I bought it. Those are really one-off situations. Or house on the market, seller calls me. I go, listen. Seller called me onto the deal and said, hey, my house is listed. I'll give you the numbers. House is listed for, how was it? I have the numbers here somewhere. Sorry, I just don't remember it. I think it was, they listed it for $699, I think. They called me up, they go, my house listed for $699. I go, listen, I got to be honest with you. You don't need an investor. You just need to drop the price to $599. It's a $600,000 house. She goes, no, I want you to come anyway. Please come over. That's music to my ears. I go over there. I go, you know, I think I can pay $450. And she sold to me for $450, and I sold it for $575 2 days after I bought it. There was some other issue. I don't want to get into this thing, but the point is, anytime a seller calls me and says the house is listed, I immediately push back. I go, we're probably not going to do business. And sometimes we've gotten into long and crazy arguments about why. But the truth is, the truth is what I said. If a house is listed for sale for a price and it's not selling in today's market, it is only because the price is too high. If the price is too high, and that's what the seller wants, and an investor like me or any other investor has to pay a significant reduction between what the house is really worth, it's unlikely that the seller is going to come down. The example I gave you, the seller was willing to come down. There was another issue. I don't want to talk about it, but they sold it to me for $450 when it was listed for $700. That is a very rare case indeed. So if you're in the, I'm looking at, I found this property on multiple listing or on Zillow, don't send that to me. I want you to come to me if you've got a deal with the situation where you've spoken to the seller, you know the seller wants to sell, you've either been in the property or you have an appointment scheduled for it. I'm happy to help you, and you won't need $1 to get the deal done, and you can make 50% of the wholesale fee. I average almost $40,000 on my wholesale fee, so that's almost $20,000 to you. Closing a deal next week, $80,000 wholesale fee with a JV partner, $40,000 each of us. So I will tell you that. What's the answer? You don't need $1. Now, if you have your own money, the only real outlay you're going to have, taking the marketing aspect out of it, which is really the hard part that nobody wants to talk about, the only real dollar you're going to spend is for the EMD, the earnest money deposit. If you use a good attorney, which there are very few who know how to do assignments, they should not charge you unless and until the deal closes. You should not be getting bills in advance for retainers or anything like that. You do not have to pay that. All your closing costs should come out when and if it closes. And if it doesn't close, you shouldn't pay anything. So that's the basic gist of how much money you need. You need zero if you partner up with somebody like me, and I'm happy to partner up with you if you've spoken to the seller and you want to talk to me about it. If you are not partnering up with me, the only thing you really need is the earnest money deposit, which can be, I don't know, you can negotiate down to maybe $5,000, $10,000. You need some money. You get that back when the deal closes. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. Blah, 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 blah. And have a great day, and thank you for watching.